Welcome. I'm Rogers Anderson, the Williamson County Mayor, and as we travel around the county here in Williamson, we have the opportunity today to have a discussion with our Parks and Rec Director, Gordon Hampton. Thanks for being with us.
My pleasure, boss.
A lot of things go on in your neck of the woods. Probably the single largest department in county government. If you added to part-time, there is no question the job you do. But before we really focus in on the Williamson County Parks and Recreation, let's talk a little bit about Gordon Hampton. And how did you get involved? Someone is watching this show and they're thinking, well, that'd be a good job for me to do, or my children to do, or my grandchildren to do. You have to have a passion, because your Parks and Recreation skill set now is making you much more effective as the director, because I seriously doubt you paint any lines on any courts anymore.
I don't do that anymore is the key word. I think to be effective in anything, you need to grow from the ground up. And I guess I've grown from the ground up when I was probably about this tall. No, growing up in Nashville with an unbelievable park system, all the neighborhoods in the city of Nashville, especially in the older neighborhoods where I grew up over in West Nashville, there was an abundance of community centers, and the community centers were a focal part of the communities. And so as a kid, going there every day, I just developed a passion for Parks and Recreation. Then just a quick rundown, when I went to college, I needed a part-time job, and I started working for Parks and Rec in Metro, and then that turned into a full-time job while I was going to school, and then it turned into a full-time passion. If you're trying to get into Parks and Rec, there are definitely some educational opportunities out there and tracks that can train you to be that. My degree is actually in public administration, which goes well from the government side of it, learning how to work within the framework of government agencies and budgeting and so on and so forth. But it's a unique opportunity to serve the public and serve the citizens of the community in which you live, and it's a great job, and I'm very fortunate.
Well, you set your sights on being director. The prior director, Doug Hood, many of the people know Doug. You worked with him and for many, many years. And you just had a passion for being in that leadership role, and you knew it. And so when Doug retired, we took applicants, and we had them. We had lots of them, but oftentimes you have to find someone that understands the system, and you were the one. And your skill set, but above all, you're just a people person, and you're extremely knowledgeable for that. And you have a great team of people that work with you and try to promote those programs that are near and dear to your heart, but at the same time, themselves likewise. And the park system that Williamson County has is, in my opinion, is the premier in the state of Tennessee. But I think even more so than that, it's probably one of the most diverse parts of government that no one else across the state has it like us, that it's just countywide, working with cities, but yet not trying to supersede the cities, because the cities have their own Parks and Rec.
Yeah, we have a great model. You've been involved in it from day one. It all started years ago. The county system was primarily made up of volunteers, and volunteers still play a crucial role in the success of the Parks and Recreation Department countywide. We couldn't do it without them. But many of the parks years ago were built through private fundraising, and were built actually almost like barn raisings, where they would go out and build ball fields and build concession stands, everything to support, the growth of the youth in their communities, and they took a lot of pride in it. Over the years, we've been able to evolve as a first-class Parks and Recreation Department, and I thank you for all the support and recognizing that. But, we've come a long way from a joint rec with the city of Franklin to a standalone department that has over 100 full-time employees. And during the summer, we will cut as many as 1,200 to 1,500 checks. The other thing that's unique is that we get along and work perfectly in sync with all the municipalities and the wonderful park systems that exist in Brentwood, Franklin, Fairview, and Spring Hill. Thompson Station has even started a parks department. We don't duplicate services, so therefore there's not a lot of wasted tax dollars from the local level or the county level. So it's really sort of just a wonderful opportunity for everybody to provide services. Nobody gets in each other's way, and we all cooperate every time we can.
Well, and it's a good model for the citizens, and oftentimes I think even you and I, we don't forget it, but the citizens do not realize that most of the large facilities that are here in our county are a joint venture of a city and a county working together.
Absolutely, and it's been one of those wonderful relationships where they have, for lack of better words, and it's kind of a sports phrase, skins in the game. And but they want to see these facilities. As we talk about things that are going on in Parks and Recreation, there's probably going to be a couple of opportunities for me to insert how these cooperative agreements are working between the municipalities and the county to bring these amenities online so that the county can operate them, because the cities feel like we have the expertise to do it. They like to maintain facilities and have great facilities, but they don't want to do the programming part of it. And so, once again, it just kind of fits together hand in glove. And I don't know who the hand and who the glove is, but everybody kind of just, works together to get it done, and it's a great system.
Well, and I'm reminded of I guess the last marriage, if we can call it that, of two systems was in Nolensville. I think that was the last large scale, not counting what would just occurred this week with our splash pad in Brentwood, but the last large scale facility, recreational facility that we had that was with Nolensville and with Williamson County Parks and Rec. We took an old school, and for the most part, a few walls were left, but we converted that into a first-class Parks and Recreation facility. And the financial arrangement of that, which is always paramount in every decision we make, is how do we pay for it? How do we staff it? The operational side, the O&M we call, the operation and maintenance of that facility. Well, the model that we've used for years and years and years has been, as you said, put skin in the game to these cities. Give us 50% and we'll build it. And we'll build it with you sitting at the table. It's not just the county. It's what does your city need, what do your aldermen or commissioners may need, whatever their particular title is called. And it's exactly what we did in Nolensville. We've done the same thing down in the Spring Hill area, and the Brentwood, and the Franklin, and the Fairview. Sometimes we build a new facility, sometimes we take a facility such as a school and convert it. And that leads us into this great discussion that we're leading on right now. We're doing renovation projects over in Fairview at an old school, that once that's completed, it'll be a first-class facility again for that community.
Once again, we've had the opportunity, as the school system has had to, find property, build new schools, to maintain the excellence that everybody comes here for, and we're renowned for our school system. Then that has left facilities, and then the county's model is, let's use those assets. Then they become parks, and then we go in and have great people over the years that have helped us design first-class facilities out of inventory that in a lot of places they would just not really find innovative ways to use it.
Or surplus and sell it.
Absolutely. And so Fairview's another example. Right now we're undergoing renovations down there. We have $2.8 million that we're using to completely renovate the facility, add amenities that we don't currently have, locker rooms and new wellness center, new group fitness studios, a new room for the seniors together, and it'll be state of the art, and it is very much anticipated to be, just a focal point of the community. It already is, but now $2.8 million makes a big difference in what you can put into a facility, and we're excited about being able to bring that online about a year from now.
And the same thing is occurring, not the same thing, but the same arrangements are being made over at Brentwood or the indoor sports complex.
Yeah, absolutely. Once again, things always start with the county commission through the leadership of you and your staff to sort of, let's identify these projects and let's identify places in the county where we need to concentrate, for a short period of time. And let's see what we need to do to keep our facilities safe and innovative and up to date. And so it's been about 15 years since we've had a major renovation at Brentwood at the indoor sports complex. And we're going to spend a lot of money on maintenance issues that we just have to safely operate the facility from the standpoint of the natatorium that's there. But then we also have some money left over for brick and mortar additions. We're going to bring pickleball courts online. If you and I, when we're in public together, we usually can't have a get-together without mentioning pickleball. But it's amazing because it's a sport that's taken off like a jet. And so we're going to build some pickleball courts. They'll be the only pickleball courts in the city of Brentwood. So the city is excited about it, and we're excited about it. The residents are excited about it. We're going to add a group fitness facility there, which for the 15 years that we've been there, it's been amazing since group fitness is one of our biggest programs from a wellness standpoint. We've never had a dedicated room in Brentwood to serve that population. So we're building a really nice, beautiful state-of-the-art group fitness facility. And as we were doing that, we approached the city of Brentwood and we said, listen, we're fixing to spend some real money here in your community. This is a wonderful opportunity to do a little bit more if you want to. And going back to what you said earlier, where we listen to them. If they're going to put skins in the game, we're going to listen to their idea. And so we talked about a splash pad. And sure enough, this past Monday night, I was at their Board of Commissioners meeting, and they approved to fund a new splash pad. And we will hopefully get started on that this fall, hoping that we can open it sometime in the summer of 2019. But they're putting $1.5 million towards this splash pad. Mayor, it is going to be phenomenal. So we already have a splash pad that's been a huge success in Franklin, and now we're going to bring one on board in Brentwood. And but thanks to Kirk Bednar, the city manager, and Jill Bergen, the mayor, and all those folks that are on their Board of Commissioners to fund that for us. And so we're really excited about it.
Well, and I think it's interesting that when we talk about your department in Parks and Rec, it covers everything from pickleball to the softball to the baseball to the indoor to the outdoor. And over the last several years, and I'll say 20 years, we've tried to make some strides in walking trails. Oftentimes those are coordinated with your city parks. So we don't do a lot of walking trails in the unincorporated part of our county. But one of the things we really focused in over the last several years is our park system, the passive side of sports, not the aggressive side of the soccer and the baseball and the things that we do, but more the passive side, because that's one of the things, if we had a check mark that, hey, you need to make some improvements on, that's one of them. And so although we've had parks that we have worked in and offered, the Timberland Park off from the Trace, which was a 15-year window from the time you got the land to you actually could raise enough money, squirrel away enough money. Everybody understands the word squirrel away. Stick 200 here and 200 there. Next thing you know, you had enough money to build an award-winning park, working with the park system the highway department, county highway department, and now it is absolutely, if people are watching this show have never been to right off the trace, right off New Highway 96, where the big bridge is, it's within 200 yards of that. It is an absolute gem and a gold mine, and I would love for you to talk about the number of people that go in there, not just from Williamson County, but from all over the world.
You know, Mayor, it has been one of the biggest surprises of our success stories that we have in our park system, and, you know, things that we can talk about. But you're right, it was a long time coming. It was an evolvement of a lot of moving parts. We had a lot of people in the community that got behind this. The finished product is Timberland Park. It is award-winning because we've won awards from TRPA and
Can't use initials.
Tennessee Recreation and Parks Association. We have, but it sits right there on the trace. And you're right, we've got all these folks that come in there, and we started noticing that they're coming in from everywhere. So I asked the staff one day, I said, you know, do me a favor, go someplace, Hobby Lobby somewhere, I'm not plugging somebody, but buy a big map. Actually, buy a globe, and let's put it up in the building there in the interpretive center at Timberland Park, and let's get some pens. And so when people come in to the interpretive center from all over the world, let them put a pin where they're coming from. Well, of course, that map's got pins all over it now. And we have a register where people can sign in as a unique visitor, you know, when they come in for the first time. So just to give you some numbers, we average between 4,000 and 6,000 users a month. We average between 300 and 600 unique new visitors every month. And the total number of countries and states that we have visited are so numerous that I wouldn't do it justice, and I would probably make a mistake by throwing a number out there. But if you go out there and look at the map, look where all the pins are, you'll know what I'm talking about.
Well, I think the unique things about it, it's a walking trail, it's a hiking trail. It's animal friendly, so you can bring your pet out there. It's an interpretive center, but it's a huge fireplace there. It's a deck on the backside. There's no electricity.
Right.
It's all done by solar. And then the ADA facilities that are out there, American with Disabilities can access it through wheelchair and other means to navigate and see the trace. Timberland Park is an appropriate name because of all the timber out there. And this particular time of the season, when the leaves are beginning to turn, there's just no place that is within, we're talking about a place that is within 5 miles of the city limits of Franklin, Tennessee, that you can sit and enjoy a wonderful day just watching the leaves, watching the wild animals out there, and then, of course, the trails if you're into the hiking side to be able to do it. I say all that to lead us into the next discussion, that just recently a family in Williamson County is in the process of giving to the county, and you'll have the oversight of that. And let's talk about that a little bit. It's down in the southern part of our county off from Giles Hill. And I had the opportunity, you took me out to it last week. It's my first official visit to go see it. I'd seen pictures and I knew where it was at. What a gorgeous 245-acre tract of land that we'll be able to develop on that side of Williamson County down on the south side.
You know, I'm glad you brought that up because there's been a lot of things that have made the Parks and Recreation Department staff excited over the years. But the new acquisition of the Peacock Hill Nature Park, and that's what the family wants it called. The prospect of that coming online has really generated quite a buzz. Just quickly to let people know, you know, how that evolved. a family that has been a focal part or an integral part of that end of the county, the Ogilvies. Operated a bed and breakfast on 1,000 acres out there for a number of years. As a matter of fact, it was one of only 2 4-star bed and breakfast establishments in the state of Tennessee. And the Ogilvies weren't able to continue to operate that due to the passing of Mr. Ogilvie. And so his wife, Miss Anita Ogilvie, and their family decided to make this generous donation of 250 acres of their 1,000 acres to the county as a gift. And as you know by going out there, this place is spectacular. It has everything from ponds. There are 3 ponds on it. One of them is several acres in size, and we're going to be able to have an opportunity for people to do catch and release. It has vistas, panoramic vistas, where you will be able to go to the top of what they call Hog Hill. And I don't know what all you can see. I know at Rock City they always used to say you can see 7 states. Well, I will say from that vantage point you might be able to see 7 counties. But it's unbelievable. It's a clear-cut panoramic view of the whole southeastern part of Williamson County. It has already 7.5 miles of trails.
Natural trails.
Natural trails that some of them are in deep forest. As you mentioned at Timberland, Mayor, the Timberland was forested. It actually was a site where loggers, logged that for a number of years. Quite to the opposite of that, the Peacock Hill, 250 acres, is virgin. When you look out and you go through those trails, the canopy starts from the floor and goes to the ceiling. The fauna and the ferns and all the leaves, everything is just green. I mean, it's almost like a rainforest. So there are trails that are deep through the woods, and then all of a sudden you could just come out on a clear-cut meadow that is just stunningly beautiful. And there's one part of it that was very unique, and I'll let you talk about that.
So we were out on this property, and we do want to thank the Ogilvies, and we also want to thank
The Tennessee Land Conservancy.
Land Conservative, who we're putting a lot of restrictions on it so that property can never be developed for anything other than parks. But in traveling around and you're chauffeuring this, there is no way to get around it. It's either walk or high-base gator. And we came up on this clear landing, and there was a little bitty church that was, I guess you could have 6 songbooks because it'd be enough for 6 people. But it had a steeple that someone had built. It had a hitching post because other than walking or using the gator, horseback, mule, something, to be able to get to this place. And I could only vision, and we will be saving that piece of property. Now, we may have to prop it up a couple of places, but it might hold 6 people. But the way it was elevated, and I hope there's a picture showing up on the screen to kind of see that, the hitching post, but the view you're talking about, that panoramic view of looking out and seeing the vistas, I could only imagine why they chose that particular place, because they would certainly be very close to God way up there. That's probably the highest point on that piece of property. Maybe there is something higher. But it is a gorgeous piece, and we do encourage, we're 1.5 years away from getting it to the point that now we might get some trails in there for walking, but we've got a lot of work to do, and we want to preserve it, but we also want to protect the neighbors that live out there too. It's off from Giles Hill. You'll have to get a map out to figure out how to get there. But it's a good 15 minutes away from Franklin, going down to the southern part, some of the prettiest land we've got. Attendance-wise, I think long-term, I would think in a period of time when people hear about it, it's going to be state-quality facility, but it won't be long. It'll give Timberland Park a run for its money on attendance.
Yeah, it's well, because it's unique, and it offers amenities just from the experience of being in the woods, but also being in a meadow and climbing to a high elevation. Going to the prayer chapel and just meditating, and it's like you said, you don't want to turn this into a religious hour here, but God has done some wondrous things on this
beautiful.
earth, and a lot of them are exemplified on this property.
And I will say, for those that are watching, if you've got gray hair like I've got a lot more than Gordon, but I have the opportunity to be the grandpa of 9 grandkids. 6 of them live here in this county, and I am looking forward, because this is the very first catch and release area that we'll be able to take our grandchildren to. I know you're looking forward to that at some point in your life, to take your grandchildren to a facility and teach them how to fish and teach them what wildlife is really about. You can't fish on Timberland Park. There is no place. There is no pond. But this particular pond, not one, but 2, and be able to enjoy that and catch and release and teach the next generation about fishing and create those lifelong learning skills that will carry with you for the rest of your life. There'll be somebody that will come out of this and wind up getting a fishing scholarship at the University of Tennessee at Martin, probably. But whatever that takes, I think that's an important part. Gordon, we've got about a minute left, and I'm sure I've overlooked something that you'd like to touch on, and I'll give you that time to do it before we sign off.
Well, I appreciate that. Parks and Recreation, we have so many things going on right now for so many people that I would encourage you to go to our website. We'll have Creed and everybody, as they're editing the show, to put our web address up there. But I would encourage you to go and just check out what we do. Every 3 months, we have a quarterly newsletter that goes out, and it's available online, and you can just go through the pages that way. I always give the commission one every 3 months. This past newsletter, if you had a chance to look at it, was 72 pages. Now just think about that for a second. 72 pages of activities that are available for everyone in the county. I mean everyone. So I could sit here forever and talk about stuff. We got so much stuff going on this weekend, but by the time this airs, that'll be over. But we have the craft shows coming up. We'll have a lot of spooks and coops and a lot of holiday related special events. Our sports leagues go year-round for adults and children. Our seniors and therapeutics never stop. So we've got it all. Go to our website, check us out.
Gordon Hampton, you can tell he's proud of Parks and Rec. I'm Roger Sanderson. We'll sign off. See you around the county at the next time. Have a good day.